Okay, Preston girls, your summary. They're creative at Preston Girls, and at the come on, help me out, Tracy. The distance ed school. Okay, thanks. Okay, so that's another option, guys. You want to? Go on, John. Oh, okay. John's got two sentences that'll probably be able to combine as he goes through. Okay. All right. Now, right, mate. Now, Rosalie, are you guys? Effie, Rose, and Effie. Yes.
The hot air rises and heads up and away, which I know you don't like that.
Sorry, hot air.
Hot air rises and heads up and away from the equator.
Yeah. Okay, now we've got a whole selection. It would actually be good in a few... It would be good in a few... I'm trying to turn the damn thing off. It would be good in a few minutes to actually write them up and just look at what details we're going to include or not. My offering was hot air from the equator absorbs water and moves north and south. Now, how are you going to decide what details to get rid of? Yep. And so if our topic is about the desert, probably the closest one was Preston Girls, wasn't it? That if in fact a key aspect of the desert is that there's no water, hot air, where the air is hot, it picks up water, it takes the moisture, as Anna said, it takes the moisture and moves away. Well, we can insert, if we think that's necessary, we can insert near the equator.
That's the reason why deserts fall.
Okay. Now, why is Antarctica a desert?
It's deserted.
Good idea. Good, that's good. That was fast. That was good. Okay, so there are issues to do with how we summarise and how we actually guide children to distill out the key ideas. Okay, before we go on with the summarising, could I just go through some paraphrasing activities, paraphrasing and visualising, and then I'd really be keen to go through how we teach children to summarise.
So is that part of determining what are the key ideas?
Sorry.
Will that involve picking out what are the key ideas in a sentence?
Well, we've got to pick out the key ideas. And one question we've got to ask is what ideas are included within others?
Can I ask a question too? Are there some topics for which, well, I don't know.
Margaret, stop making excuses.
I'm not.
I know, Margaret.
Is it worth, in some cases, pre-teaching some of these ideas? I know that so that they can grasp them more readily from the text. I know we're supposed to say, yes, you have to learn from text, but are there some ideas that become so complex when they're tried to put into this format that...
Yeah, look, first of all, I don't think there are only hard and fast rules like we have to. I don't think we should. But the issue of should we pre-teach some things? Well, Rosalie, you raised that. You said...
Well, I didn't say we should, but it's just
No, but you raised it as a question. And you reminded me that I said we shouldn't.
that was vocab. Yes, that was vocab, not concept. It's out of context.
Yeah, I mean, my view would be that to learn any new idea, you've got to be linking it within an existing framework. But I think a whole lot of what is in this text we could link by talking about this room. If I was in with a group of kids, and I would say, if I were going to be teaching this today, and I had been in this same classroom yesterday or the day before with the same group of kids, I would have left a saucer of water there, a big bowl of water, and marked it, and said, do you think no one's going to come into this room tonight? Do you think there'll still be the same amount of water here in that tomorrow morning? The mice aren't thirsty. Do you think there'll be the same amount of water? And when we come in and we see that a whole lot of the water's gone, what can we say about it? Where's it gone? Where is it now? You know. We really need to think of how we're going to draw on the kids' knowledge. Margaret, what would you think we should be pre-teaching?
I really think kids need to understand this, a clear idea in their heads of where deserts exist in the world. That'd be the only way I can make sense of this myself. The reason I can understand this, the knowledge I need in advance to do this is some really strong concept of what the equator is and where deserts exist relative to the equator.
Yeah, we did gloss over the introduction.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And the first sentence on the introduction, deserts generally lie in regions roughly grouped around the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. That is, between latitudes of 15 degrees and 35 degrees north and south of the equator.
So it might not be worth saying, imagine the world is this room. Imagine a line down the middle of the room starting with MIT going across to that door handle. There's the equator. All right, and a bit in front of the stage is one of the subtropical regions and another region back there.
Yeah.
And then looking at kids and saying, right, well, you're in the desert, you guys.
That could be one way, Phil. I think a significant thing is the globe, like we said earlier. The globe, and for me to teach that first bit, I would need the globe and say, because that bit's where the sun is coming in. So, so if you've got a torch, and you see all you really need to do is to get a torch, and see when I teach this in science, all you do would be to teach this topic, I'd just get the globe and I'd get a torch. And you'll see the beam of the torch is actually more it's not spread out so much at the equator, whereas when it gets over to that bit there, it's more spread out. So we can show the kids that. But they've got to get this from the text. If we're talking about them comprehending the text, the issue here, what it's telling us, if we're going to just work it out basically from the text, that first question, that first sentence is really, what question is it answering? It's answering, where are deserts? And it's telling us that deserts are in certain parts of the world. And more specifically, they're close to the equator. Now, I would hope that the children would know the hottest part of the earth is near the equator. Now, it may be that the kids don't know that, but it goes on to say these regions are typically dry. So what do we know so far? We know that the areas near the equator are where there are deserts, and also they're dry. And it also then goes on to tell us about concepts that I would need to teach, because I don't think the kids would know those. I think that the last sentence I'd almost be wanting to leave at this point. Do you know what I mean? It's just a really difficult concept. But all we need to know so far is that that there are parts of the world where there are deserts, and they are near to the equator. The kids need to know that 15 degrees and 35 degrees is near to the equator.